Before we open generally to questions, we will hear from Mr. Sulpicio Confiado, if I pronounce that correctly, from the Deputy Chief of Mission and Consul General and Deputy Permanent Representative from the Republic of the Philippines.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden, Mr. Pertuba, distinguished members of the panel, ladies and gentlemen, friends. Thank you very much for giving us the floor to be able to convey a statement by the Philippine government. Let me read through. It's quite short. Very early on in his campaign, then candidate Rodrigo Duterte stated that he will deal decisively with existential drug menace plaguing our country from north to south and east to west. As a result of that democratic exercise of suffrage, the president was elected by an overwhelming majority of the people. We are quite disappointed that the firm resolve of the president in addressing the scourge of drugs has been met with skepticism, if not outright condemnation. The focus has been solely on alleged human rights violations and so-called extrajudicial killings. The shocking number of 7,000 killed has been bandied about as reflecting the number of EJKs. There's clearly a need for clarification and investigation of these numbers, and based on the data from the Philippine drug enforcement agencies. The spike on statistics, while in part coming from data on casualties from legitimate police operations against drug criminals, arise from killings carried out by vigilante elements or purges by syndicates themselves. These killings are being investigated as murders. It should be noted that a good percentage of the killings recorded in the last 6 months are non-drug related. The government has an interagency mechanism that has been operational since 2012, headed by the Department of Justice and comprising of other 8 different agencies. The interagency mechanism addresses cases of EJKs, which involves targeted killings of persons because of their advocacies to include political, environmental, media practitioners, human rights, etc. The government has recognized that a small proportion are suspicious cases, and these are being seriously and thoroughly investigated and prosecuted. We iterate that the Philippine government has never made extrajudicial killings a state policy, and the President himself has taken action on erring police and law enforcement personnel. The principal campaign against illegal drugs should be viewed in the context of the President's duty under the Constitution. This he has been doing, and doing this with fervor and commitment. Notwithstanding criticism from within and without, the majority of Filipinos continue to support the campaign against illegal drugs. We welcome advice, but decisions will be made on sovereign grounds. Article 2, Section 4 of the Philippine Constitution stipulates that the prime duty of the government is to serve and protect the people. Section 5 likewise provides that the maintenance of peace and order, protection of life, liberty, and property, and the promotion of general welfare, enjoyment by all people of the blessings of democracy. Unfairly, the Philippine response to the drug menace has been almost exclusively portrayed within the rubric of enforcement. The truth, however, is that the Philippine government has pursued a balanced and holistic approach to the drug issue in all its facets: prevention, education, enforcement, rehabilitation, and reintegration. The 5 pillars of supply reduction, demand reduction, alternative development, civic awareness, and regional international cooperation inform the Philippines' mission against illicit drugs. We used to emphasize that the illegal drugs campaign is but a subset of the overall socio-economic agenda of the administration. The Philippines has employed a whole-of-government approach in uplifting the dignity of Filipinos to alleviate poverty and pave the way for safe and secure societies. Various Philippine governments are working towards this end, and aside from the war on illegal drugs, the government is leading the effective implementation of agrarian reform through distribution of lands, improvement of communal irrigation systems to farmer beneficiaries, and provision of agri-fishery assistance to farmers and fishermen. The success of the approach could be gleaned from the substantial 31.7% decrease in crimes from January to December 2016 compared with the same figure the year before. More rehab centers have been and are being built with enthusiastic support of the community, the business sector, and international partners. Various community-based measures as well as initiatives for our young people, including the peer-based strategy against drugs, have been met with considerable success. Regionally, the Philippines, as chair and member of ASEAN, has embarked on collaborative efforts with like-minded countries to secure our communities against illegal drugs. Perhaps the voluntary surrender of 700,000 people is telling. It tells of the magnitude of the problem, which affected 45,000 barangays and affected another 3 million people. It could be viewed as an indication of the success of the drugs campaign, as voluntary submission means that these victims desire to rid themselves of this habit in the use or trade of drugs. Ours is a very young population, with over 30% below the age of 14. We want safe communities where they can mature to be responsible citizens and to be able to achieve their full potential. A drug-infested community robs our youth of these basic human rights: the right to life, the right to happiness, and the right to a bright tomorrow. We call on our friends in the international community to appreciate the existential threat that our country faces. We call on the international community to do their share in raising their voices against legalization of illicit drugs. We call on the international community to see through the various agenda that promotes commercial and mercantilistic interests under the guise of compassion and human rights, while ignoring the solemn duty of a state to protect its very existence and to nurture its people. Let me end by quoting from the President's State of the Nation address last July. My administration shall be sensitive to the state's obligations to promote, protect, and fulfill the rights of our citizens, especially the poor, the marginalized, and the vulnerable, and social justice shall be pursued even as the rule of law shall at all times prevail. The administration shall implement a human approach to development and governance as we improve our people's welfare in the areas of health, education, adequate food and housing, environmental preservation, and respect for culture. Human rights must work to uplift human dignity, but human rights cannot be used as a shield or an excuse to destroy the country. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much.